Actually kan, kita continue balik tadi. Tadi kan bila athlete training status also affects the mixture of fuel utilized during exercise. For example, individuals that have engaged in extensive endurance training improve their ability to metabolize fat at the same absolute exercise intensity. For example, the same running pace, they will utilize a higher percentage of fat and a lesser percentage of carbohydrate than lesser trained athletes. When exercise intensity is increased, for example, for faster running pace, even the well-trained athlete will still reduce the percentage of energy from fat and increase the percentage of energy from carbohydrate. Use of indirect calorimetry allows for the measurement of both oxygen consumption and carbon dioxide production. The proportion of energy coming from carbohydrates and fats can be estimated accurately by the use of what we call as respiratory exchange ratio ataupun RER. RER is a ratio of the amount of carbohydrate produced to the amount of oxygen consumed. So dia adalah ratio kepada amount of carbohydrate produced to the amount of oxygen consumed. Okay, itu adalah masuk RER. This ratio can be determined from VO2 and VCO2 measured. Okay, from respiratory gases with a metabolic measurement system. This procedure is based upon a tissue level exchange of gases during oxidative phosphorylation that we call as a respiratory quotient. Complete oxidation of glucose, okay, kalau kita tengok complete oxidation of glucose, a 6 carbon sugar, okay, they require 6 oxygen molecules. Okay. In the process of oxidizing glucose, 6 carbon dioxide molecules are produced. Therefore, if only carbohydrate is being metabolized for energy, the RER is sama dengan 1, which is 6 carbohydrate produced divided by 6 oxygen consumed. Kalau kita tengok dari segi fatty acid pula, fatty acid chains such as palmitate, however, they contain many more carbohydrate. Carbon. They have what we call as 16 carbons than oxygen. Okay, oxygen. So complete. Okay, oxygen dia ada. Okay. Macam mana nak cakap So the complete oxidation of fat therefore require significantly more oxygen to be consumed. Okay. In the example of palmitate ni, maknanya 23 oxygen molecule are needed for complete oxidation, resulting the production of 16 carbon dioxide molecules. Okay, sebab dia dah ada, okay, so the 16, okay, kalau fat dia dah ada oksigen sini, okay, dia perlukan 23 molekul oksigen to produce 16 carbohydrate, 16 carbon dioxide molecule. Dia perlukan itulah 16 of carbon dioxide molecules. So this resulting the RER ataupun kita pakai respiratory exchange ratio dia adalah 0.70, iaitu 16 carbohydrate they produced, okay, divided by 23 oxygen consumed. Okay, saya ulang lagi sekali for fatty acid chain, okay, such as palmitate, palmitate dia ada what we call as dia ada 16 carbon, okay, then oxygen. Okay, they have many carbons. Dia ada banyak carbons kat sini kalau you tengok. Okay, and then dia ada oxygen hanya ada 2. Okay, so complete oxidation of fat therefore requires significantly more oxygen. Okay, to be consumed. Kita lebih banyak oxygen yang kita perlukan. Okay, in the example of palmitate, 23 oxygen molecule. Okay, 23 oxygen molecule are needed for complete oxidation, resulting in the production of 16 carbon dioxide molecule. So the resulting RAR adalah 0.70. Macam mana? 16 divided by 23. So dapat 0.70. Indicating that fat is the only source of fuel. Because protein is not completely oxidized in the body due to the nitrogen group tadi, and because protein metabolism generally comprises a very small percentage of the fuel utilized for energy, it is generally ignored as part of this fuel utilization analysis. So RAR is therefore referred to as the non-protein RAR. Okay. So kalau kita tengok sini, the source of fuel is really exclusively from carbohydrate or fat, but is usually a mixture of the two. The percentage they may come from each fuel source can depend on a variety of conditions such as previous diet, exercise intensity, and also exercise duration. A metabolic measurement system can be used to determine oxygen consumption, carbon dioxide production, and also RAR. Okay. A table can then be used to determine the relative contribution of each fuel source to energy expenditure. Okay. Kalau kita tengok pada table ni, for example, kalaulah RAR 0.75 here, you can see this RAR 0.75, approximately 85% is of the total energy expenditure is coming from fat oxidation, whereas 15% is contributed by the metabolism of carbohydrates. So this is the approximate RAR and fuel distribution that is often found in human at rest. At RAR 0.95 here, ini saling dalam at rest, dalam keadaan kita tengah berehat. 85% fat kita, 85% of energy, total energy expenditure is come from fat. 15% from the carbohydrate. Kalaulah RAR kita 95 here, you can see the fuel utilization is nearly reverse, which is approximately 83% of the energy coming from carbohydrate, and 17% coming from fat. And RAR above 0.9 is common for physical activity or exercise that is in the moderate to high intensity range, indicating that carbohydrate is the predominant fuel source for this activity. So I have explained just now macam mana carbohydrate, fat, protein metabolized individually to produce energy, and the effect that exercise has on the usage of the energy containing nutrient, especially carbohydrate and fats. However, all metabolic pathways are integrated, and our liver play a major role in regulating their metabolism. So the discussion of energy metabolism is incomplete without considering overall food intake, or what we call as energy in. Food we know provide both short-term and long-term energy for the body. For example, distant athletes consume small amount of carbohydrate during competition. This provide immediate energy as part of a large amount of dietary carbohydrate daily. Provides future energy by increasing muscle glycogen stores. So the body has many ways it can adjust its metabolic pathway to meet its short and long-term energy needs, but it has certain pathway that it prefers to use. Some of these pathway cannot be used if the body is in a starvation state. Okay. Substrate. Okay. Now we look at in terms of what we call as the fat state. The fat or absorptive state refers to the time period that surround a meal when food is eaten and the nutrients in it are absorbed. Okay. It is assumed that a meal is usually a mixture of carbohydrate, fat, protein, and that it will take approximately 3 to 4 hours for full absorption. Insulin is the hormone that primarily affects substrate metabolism at this time. In general, kalau kita assume the individual is not obese or diabetic, as a result of insulin, the liver and muscle cells, dia akan take up glucose, kan? Dan dia akan synthesis glycogen dan dia akan produce energy. That is what we call as a glycolysis. Additionally, fatty acids are synthesized in the liver and stored in adipose tissue, and protein synthesis is increased. So, the post-absorptive state, ataupun kita panggil fast state, is the period of time after the meal is fully absorbed, but before the next meal is eaten, which can be minutes, but is usually at least a couple of hours when the person is awake. So, if one goes to sleep at midnight and doesn't eat breakfast until 10 a.m., then the individual has been a post-absorptive state for 10 hours. Other metabolic pathways are favored in the post-absorptive state, which begins about 3 to 4 hours after eating and may last as long as 12 to 18 hours. The liver provide glucose to the blood by breaking down our liver glycogen. Some glucose is also produced from non-carbohydrate sources, that is what we call as gluconeogenesis. Fatty acids are released from the adipose cells and are used by both the liver and muscle to produce ATP. Glucagon, a counter-regulatory hormone to insulin, kan kita tahu, dia akan stimulate protein degradation in skeletal muscles, although it also stimulates the synthesis of liver protein. So fasting and starvation are extended period of time when food is not consumed. These different states influence the usage and storage of carbohydrate, fat and protein, and also the hormone that help regulate in our energy metabolism. So for the purpose of discussing energy and metabolism, fasting is defined as 18 to 48 hours without food. Fasting forces the body to adapt its energy system to an uncommon and threatening circumstances. Glycogen is nearly depleted in the liver and gluconeogenesis must be increased. This akan menyebabkan liver kita forced to use more amino acid as a source to produce glucose. 18 of the 20 amino acids are glucogenic, meaning that they are biochemically capable of being used to manufacture glucose. And some of these amino acids are in muscle cells, and the fasting state increases the rate at which the skeletal muscle is broken down. The degrading muscle protein akan menyebabkan a mixture of amino acid being released. However, one of the most prominent adalah alanin. So alanin dengan lactate also present in muscle cells, and glycerol obtained from the breakdown of fatty acids stored in adipose tissue akan ditransportkan kepada liver untuk manufacture of glucose. So starvation is defined as a total lack of food intake for more than 48 hours but may last for weeks or few months. This long-term starvation poses a clear threat to the body and more metabolic adjustments are made. Amino acid must be protected from being used for glucose so that they can be available for the synthesis of vital compounds such as the plasma protein and also for the enzyme. To meet its glucose needs, the body depends on the glycerol to manufacture the glucose. The brain, we know that, uses some of the glucose produced, but because the amount is small, it will use ketones predominantly for energy under starvation. Kita tahu benda tu kan. Dan fatty acid akan become the primary food source for the skeletal muscles and liver. And all these adaptations are made to prevent or delay the breakdown of body protein. Okay. What happens when a person eats a candy bar made up of carbohydrate, fat and protein? Okay. What happens is that, does all the energy contained get oxidized immediately for fuel, or does some get stored? If it gets stored, does it get stored as body fat? Okay, those simple questions have actually surprisingly complicated answer.